Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It is April 4th, 2023, the day before Mario drops in theaters, and folks, it's not looking good. 54% on Rotten Tomatoes. Grace Randolph says she's offended. The crazy cat lady goes on to insult an entire nation of people, but she says she's offended. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the potentiality of licensing Disney content. Harry Potter, people crying over that, a whole bunch more. Hollywood After Dark, folks. Let's fucking go. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. It is, of course, Hollywood After Dark, night before Mario. I'm excited. I have my tickets for tomorrow afternoon. I'm finally feeling a little bit better. The coughing has subsided a little bit and everything else. It may still be there tonight. It lingers, but I'm going to try to get through everything tonight, okay? But my God, my friends, my God, I'm shocked at what we're seeing on this one. I'm shocked with what we are seeing in regards to this review score. And we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about that, looking at that. And of course, we're going to be looking at Grace's review because, it's as batshit crazy as she is. That being said, I do want to give a shout out to RJ. He is having a family tragedy at the moment, something to do with the younger member of his family, not doing very well. That person is hospitalized. I don't want to go into details, but obviously all the well wishes and all of the positive vibes we can send to RJ and his family for a quick and speedy recovery. So, hopefully RJ is having a bit better of a night and everything else. So, and he can laugh at some chuds like the rest of us there. Garrick for 5, thank you, Garrick, says the chuds are now upset that there's a transgender flag in the new Spider-Man trailer. See here, I saw that. I did. I wasn't going to make it a story because all right, I don't really care one way or the other. Like what I mean by that is like, I don't care that there's a protect trans kids flag in what appears to be Miles's room in the trailer. At the same time, I would like to know, like, honest to God, let's be fair here. What person would actually have that up in their room? You know what I mean? Like, that's the other part of that, too, is I look at it more from the perspective of, like, is this something that someone would actually have or whatever? Like, they have it above a door. You know what I mean? It's not even, like, prominently featured. It's, like, it's above a door that's kind of in a corner. And you're just like, okay, it is what it is. Again, have the flag there, by all means, 100%. But people are going to be upset at literally everything. Obviously, those guys are crazy. Brandon here says, I think it's Gwen's room. I mean, that would make more sense than Miles. Let's be fair. That would make more sense than Miles. But at the same time, I literally just don't care. Like, it's not going to sit there and ruin my enjoyment of the movie. A blink and you miss it, trans pride flag. I mean, are you that sensitive? Are you that much of a soy boy because of that shit? I mean, Mega Man X here says Eric July was freaking out because of the protect trans. Of course he was. Of course he was. These guys are just 100% fearful of anything that is not 100% indicative of of all that, right? Garrick here for another 5. Oh my God. Bounding Into Comics made an article that said Sony now supports the mutilation of children. Oh my fucking God. Guys, come on. Fuck. Look, man, here's the deal is on this subject, man, like, look, I say trans people have rights. Let them have their rights, okay? At the same time, I'm annoyed by a lot of their activism, and I'm really annoyed by the other side's activism, and all it does is make me apathetic and not give much of a fuck, to be fair. If you're going to sit there and come out with an argument and say, Sony now, supports child mutilation, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. All right, fucking Bounding Into Comics. Who runs that? John F. Trent runs that fucking shitty ass rag. You know what I mean? If remember One Angry Gamer at his most racist, like Bounding Into Comics and Cosmic Book News are getting right up there. But they have to. That's the base that they have. That is just the base that they have. And today, look, let's be fair, guys, okay? Let's be fair, all right? Let's be fair a little bit to them. They had a rough day, okay? I think we can sit there, and I wasn't going to bring this up because this is not a political show, all right? I wasn't going to bring up 34 felonious accounts as being charged against our former president for schemes involving defrauding the state of New York in regards to campaign finance and things along those lines. And, you know, I mean, the fact that the first time in history a former president was arraigned, arrested, fingerprinted, sadly not mugshotted, god damn it. And then, of course, you know, perp walked right into the courtroom looking sad, dejected, low energy, images of him coming out of the courtroom looking, oh, he's so shrugged over. He's just, you see that there? He was just, oh, my shoulders are up. I don't know what to do, because he's never been in that position before. He's never been in that position. And when you walk in to that courtroom, it doesn't matter all the blustering you're going to do on social media, all the millions you're going to raise by trying to dupe your fan base into believing that you've done nothing wrong. It was the most perfect car. The most perfect car of the Ukraine, the most perfect car of the Georgia, which have nothing to do with why you were arraigned today. But the Georgia thing, that's coming here very, very soon. Do you know what Donald Trump has to do for the rest of the month? And I'm just going to get this out of my system right now because this has been on my mind all goddamn day. Donald Trump has to go back to New York, I think like next week, to be deposed by the attorney general. Then he's got to go to Georgia to deal with that shit. Then he's got a trial at the end of this month for sexual assault against E. Jean Carroll, which I believe is a civil trial, but he still has to go deal with all that. April is not looking like a good month for Donald J. Trump. All right. Teflon Don, more like Teflon's gone, motherfucker. So it is what it. So I can understand Eric July and the Geeks and Gamers crew and Ryan Kennel all having very weird days. They're just drunk on their own fucking supply of soy because this is just where they are. This is what else do they got, right? Their top dog in chief is going to end up, you know, and I don't think he's going to go to jail as much as I would like it. All right. But he's definitely like probably going to get found guilty of one of the 34 counts that are now levied against him, which, by the way, guys, and this is where it gets really fucking funny. 34, one of those nails him on a felony. He cannot fucking run for president. All right. So he's going to drag this shit out. All right. And I really hope that they don't drag this shit out. They've apparently got enough to get him. Donald Trump is just whatever, man. Today was historic. Today is a day of like, where were you when this happened sort of thing. And my ass was sitting on my recliner, watching on my big screen TV, drinking a Rockstar and just going like, ha, 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 justice, motherfucker. And because, you know, we need more of that in this world, right? Maybe if these completely just duplicitous cocksuckers, because that's what they are. They're cocksuckers. If these cocksuckers would just stop with the bullshit and the lies and the obfuscating and the trying to deflect from anything, and they actually were out there trying to be honorable, truthful individuals that weren't lying and duping their audience into believing that they actually give a fuck about them and their ills, then of course, maybe we might have a more productive society. But today, someone told me on Twitter, they're like, the demons are coming to destroy our democracy today. And I'm like, bitch, these demons are fucking holding criminals to account. Fucking wake the fuck up. You're living in a goddamn fantasy land. Jesus fucking Christ. And that's why I love all this shit, man. I love all this shit. It's fucking hysterical. It's fucking hysterical. Which, by the way, just before I move on this shit, right? Just because I move, just before, all right, I move on this shit. Quickly want to say, did anyone watch Trump in Mar-a-Lago tonight? His speech in Mar-a-Lago? Holy fucking shit, right? I thought he was going to come out just fucking big dick energy, right? Take a hit of Adderall before walking out on stage. I thought he was going to do it. Man, I was kind of hopeful because that's the entertaining Trump that I kind of enjoy to watch in a weird kind of odd way. You know, when he gets really crazy and he's animated, he's entertaining, and that's why people like him. And that's a fucking very big indicator of why our society is goddamn screwed. But man, he walked out just like, it's been a witch hunt. It was, oh my God, it was so boring. We watched it over dinner tonight. Like, I'm just sitting there like eating dinner. My daughters are just like, what the fuck are we watching? They were so bored. I'm all like, this is history. This is history. We have to watch this. And my daughter looks at the TV. She's like, is he a good guy or a bad guy? I'm like, oh no, he's not a good guy, kiddo. He's definitely a shitbag. I didn't say that. He's a bad guy. And she's like, but why? And I'm like, well, because he's committed crimes and he's hurt people and and he's now finally getting brought to justice. And that's the thing we need to consider here. But it's still a historic moment. And she's like, okay, whatever. I'm going to watch Ryan's Toy World. I'm like, that's what a 5-year-old cares. But a 41-year-old who cares about the future of our democracy, who cares about the future of our country, who cares about the future of our fucking world, and doesn't want to see assholes from any fucking side get the upper hand. I am very happy with what went down today. I don't mind the wall-to-wall coverage because it's not going to work out in Trump's favor. They didn't want a mugshot because they didn't want to plaster it all over everything and to be used as a way to bolster him and turn him into a martyr. Instead, what we got was a disheveled, dejected, lonely 70s con man who having to face the reality of his actions. That is what we should all be fucking thankful for. That democracy still works. And despite his calls for protest, which, by the way, what you have to love about that, he's on through social. Come protest, right? He says all this shit. And like, what, 10 people showed up? 12 people showed up, right? Because the last motherfucking time this guy called for a protest, they tried to overthrow democracy. It wasn't just a walk through the Capitol. Fuck you, Ethan Van Sciver. It wasn't a walk through the goddamn Capitol. No, it was an absolute assault on our democracy. And a lot of them are in jail. Hell, I know the fucking guy who was calling from Nancy Pelosi's office. He just got out of jail. That's a whole weird thing. I'm watching the fucking January 6th coverage like 2 years ago when it happened. And I'm watching it. I'm just like, hey, wait a minute. That's Baked Alaska. I know that guy. So way, way crazy shit. Anyway, moving on from that. I had to get that out of my system, you guys. Sorry. Let's go on from there. All right. What is it? Sarah's had a comment that I missed, I think. Okay. So he says here, sorry, John's article was interesting because I was expecting the activism side of the trans kid things, but when I went to, but then it went to the Bible, God, church thing, and I was laughing my ass off because I didn't expect that. Have you never read a Bounding into Comics article? Oh yeah, he'll John 3:16 your ass as much as he possibly can. That's the whole fucking point of why those guys are just stupid ass honkies. Blue Jay asking here, over or under 60% that Mario cracks a bill. I'm gonna go over. I'm still going to say over, man. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think I think it's going to hit $1 billion. I mean, look, critic scores don't mean shit on that front. You know what I mean? But, all right, there's that. There's a lot to get to tonight, guys, before we even get in to talking about everything. The watcher here says that Matt had to preach. Matt's finally feeling better enough to do it. You know what I mean? Matt's finally feeling better enough to do it. That's kind of the thing. Tony here. Dude, hold on. I'm taking a snapshot of this. Let me just get a quick snapshot of this. Okay. Thank you, Tony. It says here, when Trump wins 2024, you will be crying about almost getting him. A J6 was a stroll through the stroll through the publicly accessible building as Pelosi's police watch. Funny thing about that is it wasn't a publicly accessible building. They broke through barricades. They broke down doors. They broke down windows. They caused millions, I think like what, 2 million in damages and everything else. That's not a public stroll through there. Were they overwhelming to the point of where the police just kind of like were trying to let them do what they needed? Like, yeah, there was a fair amount of that actually. And I don't necessarily blame the Capitol Police for that. When you are dealing with an overwhelming force like that, you have to assess what they're there for. They kept them away from the senators. They kept them away from the delegates. And that, of course, is their key point of action. But even Mike Pence didn't trust his Secret Service agents. Even Mike Pence didn't do that. You know? So I don't want to hear this shit. And again, if Trump gets busted, one felony, he gets charged, he gets convicted of a felony. Just as he can't run. He can't be president. So you know what? I'm just saying, you can sit there. I snapshotted this, but that's the reality of it, buddy. They were Democrat. Oh my God, Tony. Bro, what are you talking about? You can't say 2 impeachments, 0 convictions. Dude, I'm not getting into this. I'm not getting into this entirely, but oh my God, man. Look, if you don't fucking understand, like McConnell kept him from getting convicted on both accounts. If there would have been a secret ballot, he would have been impeached on the first runaround. Okay. But the Republicans are so goddamn fucking afraid of their own shadow. They're Punxsutawney Phil, literally 365, that they wouldn't actually stand up and do the right. Mitt Romney was the only Republican with the fucking balls to come out and do the right fucking thing. And you know what's funny is he's a billionaire, so he doesn't have to worry about the campaign finances, the donations that they're all going to get. And this is, I have my issues with the corporate side of both parties. All right, but let's be fair here. A lot of the people back when those impeachments happened were very much trying to ride the Trump train because they thought Trump was at his peak power in 2020 when all this shit went down. The thing you have to consider, or 2021 for the J6 stuff. But the thing you have to remember here, Tony, is that we've gone through the 2022 midterm election, and the 2022 midterm election saw pretty much anyone Trump backed got fucked. So that power level is gone. It ain't over 9K. All right. It's 6 feet under. Let's be fair. Sorry. Mitt is a rhino. I don't give a fuck. Who gives a shit? He's the senator from fucking Utah. The one place they literally put Mormons because it's the worst place in this country. Anyway. I'm just like fucking, yeah. FN model here says, can we move on? It's like I'm on TikTok. I can't escape this crap. It's everywhere, dude. But the thing is, though, it is, look, as much as I dislike corporate politics, as much as I dislike conservatism in many facets, looking at something like one of the things that Andrew Breitbart said is that politics is downstream from culture, and he's right. And this stuff ties into culture. What we're talking about here, Hollywood After Dark, entertainment, medium, all that kind of stuff, very much ends up putting it in the culture space. And that's one of the reasons why we have to stand up and push back against nonsense as much as we possibly can, but without any kind of financial backing. Because look, these conservative organizations, or all these right-wingers will go like, George Soros funds all this shit for the lefties, which is bullshit. But if you look at like the Mercers for Fox, right? Or like, no, they're what, Daily Wire, I think, or whatever, all the conservative billionaires that just fund money into these right-wing organizations, they have the financial backing and the financial infrastructure to actually enact change through this kind of bullshit lobbying in the social consciousness, right? The lefties don't have that. But the problem with the lefties is that they fucking rely on guilt way more than policy. Policy is popular. The guilt isn't. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit here as we get up into another story involving Harry Potter. But let's move on. Let's move on. There's stuff to talk about. We got 100 people watching. Smack the like. Because you know what? We're going to be talking also. I'm going to get to the Quad Squad Unplugged. If you're a channel member, go there. There's a community post from last night. I'm going to be answering the questions at the end of the stream, provided I still have a voice. So we're going to try to do that. Anyway, Lando. The show might actually still be happening. It's been a couple years since it was announced. However, one of the things is that Donald Glover was talking about it, and I put together a little bit. This is a presentation from a GQ video that they put out, kind of giving his rundown on all this stuff. So let's find out what Donald Glover has to say about being in Star Wars.
You've noticed that Lando has feelings for me, which makes working together difficult because I do not feel the same way about him.
I got so much flack with people like, was he really them robots? Because I don't think Lando would do that. I was like, maybe he would. It's like, I don't know. But also, I stand by him. Like, there's lots of things to in space. Solo.
Captain Lando Calrissian. Han Solo.
Looks like you're having a good day.
I'm a lucky guy.
Can I ask you a question, Captain Calrissian?
Anything, Han? It's Han, but that's okay.
First black man in space, bro. Lando, first black man in space. I guess does Star Trek have any black people? I mean, yeah, like, I guess Star Trek does. I guess, like, Star Trek has, like, a very multicultural, like, crew, which I guess was a big deal back then. But Lando, I guess for some reason, like, people feel like this is a real black person in space. I don't know why.
You might want to buckle up, baby.
I remember my dad showing me Star Wars and being like, yo, this is Lando. And he's, you know, he also feels pulpy. The rest of those, you know, the whole Skywalker family, you can't really fuck with the canon. You can have a pulpy kind of like shitty Lando novel that feels like outside of the Star Wars universe, but still in it. And I think that's why people like him. He's the most elastic of the characters, because you don't know where he's from or who he is or whatever. There's only really those like 3 little books. So yeah, like it was dope to play him. It was really fun.
He was really good.
Calrissian Chronicles, Chapter 5.
continued. Personally, I wasn't all that impressed with the Cheru. No sense of humor or style. Nonetheless, their L3 and I were deep in their sacred temple. And that's when we saw it. Always something.
I met Billy D right before I played him. I remember that day, really. We met at Lil Dom's, and he was like really, you know, just a funny guy. Like he didn't talk, like we talked about a bunch of other stuff. Like I wanted to know like what did you feel, like all that kind of stuff. I wanted to really get into because I really didn't want to let anybody down. And I remember he was talking about like Kauai. I was like, oh, you been to Kauai? Man, I got married on Kauai. Yeah, I got married to that. Was like my second one. He was talking about, he had all these great stories, but I kept being like, yes, sir, but sir, like, what do I do to play? And he literally goes like, just be charming. That's it. Like he was like,
that's
just be
really
charming.
it.
He's like, that's pretty much it. And he's like looking around. He's like, that's the secret. Like, and I was like, okay. And I guess he's right. Like he's kind of like Lando's like charm incarnate, which, you know, he's kind of a maverick, which I don't think there's a lot of anymore. Like, you know, it's hard to be like the smooth talker nowadays, you know, because like where's the line? But I think that's also where the danger is. It's like, how close can you get without tripping over it? I mean, I would love to play Lando again. It's a fun time to be him. It just has to be it just needs to be the right way to do it. I'm all about like, now it's like, you know, like time is precious. I think everybody's like, you know, the past couple of years, this pandemic shit like really had people experience time in a way where they're like, well, why am I should be around oranges. Like, and people, you know, like people kind of realize like their time is valuable. You know, you only get so much. So like, I'm not interested in doing anything that's just going to be like a waste of my time or just a paycheck. I'd much rather like, you know, spend time with people that I like enjoy. So it just has to be the right thing, which I think it could be. I mean, like Lando's definitely somebody I'd like to hang out with. So yeah, I mean, we're talking about it. That's as much as I can say, you know, without Kathleen Kennedy like hunting me down.
I love that last little line there. That's all he can say without Kathy hunting him down. So we know that they were talking about this at the end of 2020, right? They had announced that this was going to be a thing. It's been a couple of years. There's been no movement on it. And I think they were just waiting for Atlanta to wrap up. I mean, obviously there was a pandemic and there's a lot of other stuff. But look, man, Donald Glover is like firmly in with Disney, right? FX and everything else. He definitely wants to work with them. And I personally love him as Lando. I thought he was great casting. I really, really, really love, you know, like the movie Solo was a lot of fun for me. And I would love to see more, right? Perp here says, let him direct all the series and I'd be there for it. Yeah, I think it'd be really good. Fandom NSL says, I hope we get a D+ show with him and Alden. Adventure of the Week type show would be great. Oh, dude, I'd love that. I would love to see Alden Ehrenreich come back as Solo. I know, look, and again, it's like there was adventures there that they left undone, and it was definitely something I really enjoy, and I think that Solo has found an audience in recent years. So I would love to see what they're going to do with that there. Shogun here for 5, thank you, says, I wonder if people see Lando as a black man in space because Billy D was in black movies back in the 70s, I guess. I mean, like, look, when I was a kid and I watched Empire for the first time, or, you know, whatever, one of the hundreds of times I watched that movie, or even fucking, you know, like Return of the Jedi, man, I never was all like, oh, there's like the one black guy. I was like, fuck, he's Lando Calrissian, man. This motherfucker is the shit. Love Lando. Always have loved Lando. And again, it's like I was a kid. So for me, that was a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just a different, I don't know. I can't speak to any of that. Right. I mean, it's like, I can't speak to any of that. And it's, you know, I mean, I saw Spherical Man make a comment about how he's mad at Donald for not knowing that Uhura being black in Star Trek. I mean, dude, sometimes you just kind of forget things, right? But he also may not have been a Star Trek kid. You know what I mean? Like, dude, he's my age roughly, right? Like you got to understand there was a time when it's like, we only had like the movies and shit. You know what I mean? Like a lot of kids you couldn't get VHS tapes of Star Trek from back in the day. You would have to watch them on reruns and shit. And so, most of the time they ran like middle of the night or middle of the day. It was the accessibility to Star Trek was different. you know, and maybe he only saw the movies when he was a kid. And the fact that, you know, you had, even then, like a lot of people really only know Wrath of Khan, and then they jump over to fucking A Voyage Home. You know, they skip over Search for Spock because let's face it, that's not even the best Star Trek movie. It's all right. It's all right. You know, or maybe I just need to watch it again and shit. I know the whole Genesis program thing's pretty cool and whatnot, but you can't beat the ending of fucking Wrath of Khan though, man. Anyway, all I'm trying to say is like, he may not have had that experience. So him not knowing that, you know, not remembering that Nichelle Nichols is black is, I don't know. I mean, I don't really hold it against him, to be fair. It's sometimes we just forget stuff while we're talking. I do it all the time. You guys correct me all the time on shit. So it is what it is. Blessinger says now it's probably all on Paramount Plus. Yeah. Yeah. Ryan says, I watched the original Star Wars on VHS back in the day. I mean, I did too, man. That's how I saw that shit. Right. Like, I remember all that stuff when it was coming out. Like, or I remember going to the video store and renting all that stuff when it was coming, you know, when I could get my hands on it, as a kid. So, you'll I'll hold it against him for me. You want to hold it against him, Spherical Man, by all means. That's on you, dog. I don't have that problem. That's a you thing, not a me thing, but I appreciate you looking out. How about that? All right. I appreciate you looking out. Here's another thing I forgot to make a graphic for, but I got the thing right here. We did get, oh Lordy, we got today the very first trailer for a movie that I'm not too sure how I feel about it. Let's watch it. I want to know what you guys have to say. Of course, I'm referring to Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken.
With the radio blast and goes cruising just as fast as she can now.
I thought I might stay over tonight.
Why?
Because we're girlfriend, boyfriend.
To do what?
I'm actually not sure.
And she'll have fun, 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 fun. And she'll have fun, 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 fun. And she'll have fun, 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 fun.
Okay, ladies, let's do this.
And she'll have fun, fun.
What are you doing here?
I'm coming with you.
Did you bring your rollerblades?
I literally go nowhere without them. Oh, looks like this beach was a little too much beach for you, Ken. If I wasn't severely injured, I would beat you off right now, Ken.
I'll beach off with you any day, Ken.
Anyone who wants to beach him off has to beach me off first.
I will beach both of you off at the same time.
Beach both of us off?
Nobody's gonna beach anyone off.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that, you guys. I'm sorry. Like I've now watched it a couple times and it just doesn't, it looks too plastic, and I know that's the point, right? I know that's the point. I know people are also waiting for Barbie Girl from Aqua, and the fact that the trailer opens with "Hi Barbie, hi Ken," and you're thinking like you're going to hear the song, but it's probably not going to be in the movie because they're probably not going to want to play up that stereotype, even though that's the kind of nostalgia memberberry bait that a lot of people are going to be looking for. I'm going to reserve judgment on the movie until I see a story trailer. Also, will I go see the movie when it comes out? The answer to that is probably yes. Because, you know, like it's July and I want to start watching more movies and reviewing them again and everything else. And that's going to kind of have to be a thing I'm going to have to do. Command Unit here said, this made me want World War III. I mean, you are an accelerationist, so maybe you'll get your dream. Maybe you'll get your dream. CJH, I did read your super chats yesterday. I didn't get to the mailbag stuff. I will get to that though tonight, but I did get to that. Anyway, Watcher here says Gosling will carry the movie. Here's the thing though with that, man, is like looking at it, you can tell like how old they look. You know what I mean? Like you can tell how old Ryan Gosling is starting to look. It's just, if they were supposed to have like pristine skin and everything else, like they look like they're the cast of fucking Riverdale after 7 years. You know, we're meant to be playing high school students, but in reality, I'm 44 with 3 mortgages and a divorce. It's like, and I'm a chain smoker. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what it fucking feels like to me. But that being said, you know, it's like, look, man, he looks 40. I mean, I'm 41. I look it too, but you know, I get it. Yumo here says Gosling's aging now. He's still hot. Yeah, no, he's still hot. I'm not gonna sit there and fucking whatever. You know, I'm not gonna argue against that, right? Green Man ASMR says a movie about the Barbies is so 90s. It is, and it might have actually because look, I will say this. Do you guys remember when this was first announced? Many years ago, when it was Amy Schumer that was supposed to be playing Barbie. And she was going to be a fat Barbie that ends up like getting shunned from Barbie world and goes into the real world. I don't even know. Look, if they would have done it, like either like own the whole concept or don't. I'm not a big fan of the leaving their world and coming into our world. I understand fish out of water can be pretty decent, right? Some movies can pull it off pretty well. Obviously, you've got movies like Splash. And then you've got that John Reno, Christina Applegate movie from like 20 years ago called Just Visiting. That was pretty good. But it's like at the same time, as if you have something to say about our society and our culture and where we are, that might be one thing. But if it's just like we don't really know how to make this movie, but we're going to end up doing it in a way that, yeah, right? I mean, look, like it's Greta Gerwig is writing it and directing it, and she co-wrote it with her husband Noah Baumbach, who they both known for doing like more of like the like, you know, like what I don't know, it's like Wes Anderson type fucking movies. Maybe not Wes Anderson, but like more avant-garde, you know, indie cinema type shit. And it's like, look, man, this is meant to be like a fucking popcorn movie, midsummer shit, and it's just like I don't even know. I don't even fucking know. I did enjoy the gag though about her taking off the shoes and her feet are shaped that way. I did enjoy that gag. But otherwise, I mean, like, and the beat you off thing was just like, oh my God. No. People got mad at the whole Batman's a fascist thing, right? That line makes some sense if you think about it. This was just like, no. Let's see here. Captain Bacon says, until you get yourself involved with doing a movie nowadays, how it's done like this day and age, we all really don't know, do we? I guess not. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, Vehicle Man brings up Earth Girls Are Easy. Fucking, that's a great movie. You know, Jeff Goldblum, Damon Wayans, Jim Carrey, Gina Davis. It's a fun movie. I really enjoyed that movie from back in the day. Enterprising here says Tyra Banks Life Size did that. Yeah, that's very true. Rational here says Last Action Hero is free on YouTube. That's a great movie, man. That's a great fish out of water movie that totally like flips the switch on this. You know, instead of a movie going into, you know, a movie character coming into real life, it's a real life character person going into a movie world. That's even better. Ryan brings up Legally Blonde. I love Legally Blonde. Legally Blonde looks amazing. I love that movie. It's great. Funky Foo says Fat Barbie. Chuds would have gone crazy. I can hear it now. That's not my Barbie. I'd say you collected Barbie. I mean, here's the thing with that is that people were not happy with that at the time. Castro here says Yellow Flash guy hated Batman as fascist. That's why he's not watching the Blue Beetle. What I want to know is why you seem to know what Yellow Flash is up to, because who fucking cares what that guy's up to? Yeah, he's mad at a line that has some kind of bearing to it because he can't take a joke. None of those guys can take a joke, but that's why I said at the beginning of the show tonight, guys, they're all having a bit of a rough day. They all need their heated blanket. You know what I mean? They all need a Midol, and they all just need to chill the fuck out. That's where we are. So, all right, let's move on here because I want to talk about this other news that popped up today about fucking Bob Iger talking about how he could license off other Disney properties outside of Marvel, Star Wars, Disney, and Pixar because they're potentially looking for a way to make some extra cash. And they need it right now. And they do realize that by licensing out this stuff, it could bring in some serious money. So here's what we know. During Disney's annual meeting held virtually, CEO Bob Iger announced that the company will be considering licensing some titles to third parties on occasion. Iger acknowledged that in the late 2010s, the company clawed back streaming rights in order to successfully enter the streaming business. However, he noted that Disney is not looking to license its core Marvel, Disney, Pixar, or Star Wars products to third parties. And Disney Plus has now reached 100 million subscribers in 16 months after its November 2019 launch, which Iger attributed to having exclusivity to many tentpoles, which is, yeah, that's entirely the fucking point, right? There's a lot of exclusivity that happens in regard, this is why people go to Disney Plus. Disney, well, okay. I mean, look, we all know the Disney brand name, but one of the key things that they had is not so much the tentpoles, Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, whatever. It's also their fucking back catalog, man. Like Disney's back catalog is really good, so there's a lot of good stuff there to watch all the time. And that's just one of the key factors, right? That was one of the key things, but they also have a lot of good exclusive content. So there's one of the things that I saw someone mention to me today is bringing up the idea that what about Indiana Jones, right? Because they were talking about doing an Indiana Jones TV series, and then that recently reportedly had been scrapped. And Paramount, is doing really well. It's starting to now do really well over on Paramount Plus, and they've got the distribution rights to the 4 Indiana Jones movies. So it's like, could Disney license over Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny to Paramount as a way to make money? I mean, I don't know about that, to be fair. I don't think it's going to happen, because Disney seems pretty adamant that the movie is going to do well, because they are premiering the film at Cannes on May 18th. This is 6 weeks before the release of the movie. They are premiering the movie 6 freaking weeks before it officially opens worldwide. That is no small feat. That is no small feat. We're talking about the Mario stuff. Mario drops tomorrow. The review embargo lifted today, right? Which is usually not the greatest of signs, even though there was social media embargo, reactions last week and stuff. But it's like, they're going to put this movie out there and certain people are going to see it. And here's the thing, even though the movie is premiering at Cannes, you're going to have a bunch of journalists in LA and New York probably that are going to be shown advanced screenings of the movie. So when the reviews of this thing officially drop out of Cannes, we're going to be getting a lot of reactions from people locally who have seen the movie. I just feel this is exactly what they're going to be doing, because it just makes the most amount of sense, right? That's just what they're going to do. And they're going to want to build that buzz. And this is what's going to kick off really the marketing, is that the movie is going to come out and it's going to get a lot of positive buzz coming out of Cannes and a lot of positive buzz coming out of the entertainment media. And that's going to lead into some seriously good tracking numbers for when the movie comes out. They believe in it enough to release it, to put it out there in such a way 6 weeks early. This is not something that Disney is like, nah, this movie's going to bomb. We just want to get as much out of it as we possibly fucking can. And, Ralph Stubbletits here says, this is going to backfire when leaks get out and confirm that Indy's going bye-bye, erased from existence. That's if it happens. Right. But I mean, James Mangold has said that's not happening. So I don't know. And if they do that, look, here's the thing, man. It's like, if they do that, then like they're fucking themselves. But I don't think I do think that we are going to have some particular stuff pop out, but I don't think we're gonna get the full spoilers. Static Path here for 10. Thank you very much. If they give Paramount Plus the rights, I want Taylor Sheridan to make an Indiana Jones show. Come on, Yellowstone, Tulsa King. I mean, look, the thing with that is though, is like licensing out a movie or licensing out properties. Yeah, maybe. Right. But if they license it out, Taylor Sheridan's, it would still be done underneath the Disney banner. That's the whole thing with the sell Zack Snyder's Justice League to Netflix. And that's why, like, I love to ask those guys whenever they bring it up, like, how would you feel about James Gunn overseeing Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 if that ever happens, right? Because that's exactly what would happen. Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca have no say over that at all. Despite what all the crazies want you to think, that's not the case. So James Gunn and Peter Safran would be the ones in control of that. And so if they were going to license out a television show for Paramount Plus to greenlight, it would still be done at Lucasfilm, and it would still be done with that development team, right? All Paramount is doing is paying for it paying for exclusivity to the distribution. That's really about it. But it'd be very interesting to see if they do that. I don't think they will, but I do think that this movie is gonna blow up when we find out more about it next month. I think that'd be freaking amazing. So thank you for that one. I really appreciate that. Okay, so real quick here, just because I want to catch up on a couple quick little supers here, because Command Unit's kind of been all over the place. Do you know about the communist Tucker memes? I don't. I know that people have used AI to have Tucker Carlson like promote like the empire, which is pretty funny. So there's that. Also, Command Unit here says, I lurk in many political circles. I just enjoy politics. Western political circles are a bit boring aside from the MAGA communists that are very hyper. I don't know. I mean, you call them MAGA communists. I think they would vehemently disagree with you, but I think I get what you're saying. So thank you for that. Anyway, yeah, politics is just going to be crazy on this stuff. Donovan here says, I don't care for Indy. Get the fuck. What? What? What are you talking? You don't care. How can you not like Indiana Jones? He's an archaeologist that fights Nazis. What about That's Not to Love? My God. You have to understand, my favorite movie is Raiders of the Lost Ark. So, let's see. Plushy here says, there are people who call themselves MAGA communists. I don't believe that's real. I don't believe that's real at all, to be honest with you. I just don't believe that's real. But you know what? Moving on. I'm going to tell you guys something else I didn't think was real until we got some confirmation today. And that is Shrek 5 is apparently happening with original cast, as well as a Donkey spinoff, and Sing 3 is currently in development. Now, I am excited for all of those things. So this is what an overview of the article says. Chris Melanandri, the founder and CEO of Illumination, is serving as a creator to DreamWorks Animation for the reboot of the Shrek franchise. Melanandri believes that preserving the core elements that audiences have loved while introducing new storylines and characters. To achieve this, he's hoping to bring back the original voice cast that includes Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, and Eddie Murphy for Shrek 5. While there's no deals in place yet, negotiations with the actors are reportedly going well, and Melanandri is optimistic about their return. He's also excited about the possibility of a Donkey spin-off movie, which he believes could stand on its own, similar to the Puss in Boots spin-offs starring Antonio Banderas. I mean, I love Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. The first Puss in Boots movie is fun. It's definitely fun, but it's not as good as The Last Wish. The Last Wish elevated the storytelling elements of that world and gave us a real reason to care about Puss in a way that we'd never thought before, never mind putting him up against an opponent that is downright fearful. Death was actually frightening. And I also love Big Jack Horner because I'm a big John Mulaney fan. But still, it's like you watch Puss in Boots and there are stakes across the goddamn board. So what are they going to be able to do with Shrek in order to be able to really capitalize on that? I am very hopeful that we will get some really, really, really good stuff out of this. Also, Sing 3 as 100% has my attention because I love Sing 1. I love Sing 2. And I'll say this. I see people like, look, I actually put this out of order. I meant to do one more story before getting into the Mario stuff because these are kind of tied together. However, you know, I one of the things I saw about people like to rag on Illumination. Okay. And here's the thing. Illumination has kind of put out banger after banger after banger. Any way you want to look at it. You may not like every movie, but they do well. You know, I fucking hate Despicable Me, the first one. I hate it. Fucking hate it. Love Despicable Me 2. All right. I don't like the first Minions movie. I don't. I love Rise of Gru. You know, and I really enjoyed Despicable Me 3, and I'm going to watch Despicable Me 4. I didn't care for The Secret Life of Pets, but I really enjoyed The Secret Life of Pets 2. I love Sing 1. I love Sing 2. There's a lot there with Illumination that they're able to actually capture that does well with the audiences. And that's why I'm most intrigued for Mario and to see what happens out of that when I go see the movie tomorrow afternoon. That being said, give me Shrek 5. Give me Shrek 5. I'm very happy. I do feel that Shrek Forever After, when that came out in the summer of 2010, very much encapsulated the series. All right, I do. It gave it a nice bow tie. It gave us a nice ending. Shrek, Fiona, the twins, happy in the swamp with Donkey and the Dragon. Puss in Boots is there. Everything's hunky-dory. It gave us a nice fairy tale ending. And I'm totally okay with that. But after watching Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, especially with that ending, my ass is like, you take me back, you bring me back to far, far away. And I can't wait for it. Reed here says Electric Mayhem show teaser. I haven't, I heard about it, but I haven't seen it. I know it came out today, but I haven't seen it. So, is it good? I don't know. Spherical Manor says, I don't find John Mulaney all that funny. How do you not find John Mulaney that funny? John Mulaney is hysterical. Donovan here says Puss in Boots animated movie of the decade. Yeah, it's really solid, man. It's really good. I really, really, really love what they've done with those franchises, and I really want to see how all that plays out. Wayne T. Carr, clearly not Wayne T. Carr, says Shrek 5 better be good. Now, Wayne, are you the same account that goes over to those other streams? And are you the one that goes over there and likes to let them think that the actor from that Macbeth movie, right, is there? Because like if that is you, kudos for the trolling. It's great. I totally respect it. All right, Command Unit, thank you very much. I got the super chat there. We'll take a look at that at the end. Let me just make sure I got the thing right here. So if you guys haven't already, 120 of you guys watching, do me a solid. Hit that like. Let's try to get 18 more. Let's get to 50. We can do it. I believe in you. I trust you. I love you, obviously. So this next subject is going to probably get me in a fair amount of controversy, as it always tends to do, because there was an article that popped up today over on Collider about how rebooting Harry Potter as an HBO Max series makes no sense. We don't need more of the Wizarding World as written by Douglas Lamont. Here's the thing with that. Douglas is kind of a moron. I'm just going to say it. Douglas is kind of a moron. One of the reasons why I say it like that has a lot to do with the fact that when we talk about Harry Potter coming back as a television show, there is still a lot more that can be done with the series. Because I'm sorry, as much as I love the movies and as much as they were a part of my, young adult life and whatever, there's still a lot in the books that they left out. There was a ton that they altered, that they changed from the books that made no sense. Prisoner of Azkaban, I'm looking at you, motherfucker. It's probably, Prisoner of Azkaban is probably like the best directed Harry Potter movie. Alphonse Cuarón did a great job with that. But let's be fair, it changed a bit too much. Okay? It really did. It didn't explain some shit. Still better than Goblet of Fire, which like my favorite book, and then they kind of butchered the adaptation of it. But I enjoyed Order of the Phoenix and the other ones that followed. I thought David Yates did a good job to kind of like correct course, but they probably should have gotten somebody else to do Fantastic Beasts. That being said, let me just kind of read a summary of this article that I put together to give you guys an idea of why this person says that there shouldn't be an HBO Max adaptation of Harry Potter, that it makes no sense. So the article criticizes the reported plans for the TV adaptation of the Harry Potter books. The author argues that the move is not only unimaginative, but also ethically problematic due to the transphobic rhetoric of J.K. Rowling, the franchise's creator. See, that's what it boils down to here. It's not really about whether or not they should do this, which they absolutely should for the longevity of the popularity of the show or from the program. But they just want to go back to JK, what JK says. All right, because she's going to be involved to help oversee the continuity and the consistency. Not running the show day to day and clearly not writing the scripts, but overseeing it, whatnot. But again, none of that matters. It doesn't matter if she's got an executive producer role that only has her oversee how things go in the story department and she's not anywhere near on set. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She's persona non grata, and that's what they hate. They can't have any of that. So it's like, instead of like, hey, let's adapt this series that people really fucking love to be more faithful to the books, to expand over 7 seasons, to do an actual adaptation of it, which will be very popular, which will be very successful. Again, these people who live in a bubble who don't understand that the vast majority of the real world out there does not give a fuck about J.K. Rowling's comments. I'm sorry, they don't. They don't fucking care. They don't care. It's not that they're transphobic themselves. It's just that they don't care. And you want to Don't take my word for it. Go look at the fucking attendance numbers for fucking Hogwarts, man. Universal LA and Universal fucking Orlando. This shit's doing really well. It's super popular. It's super goddamn popular. But no. Again, all of that ends up getting just fucking yeeted, right? It just gets yeeted from the conversation. Now, the article asserts that the company should not be working with Rowling because of the harmful effects her rhetoric has on the trans community and the way it's being used to justify intolerant legislation. Now, like, I don't agree with JK on how she framed things. That's her opinion. I don't like it, but that's that. That's where it is. That's all we can do at this point is go, that's her opinion. Is there a back and forth over it, or is it just online dogpiling, and is she just responding to kind of be cheeky? Yeah, a lot of it's that, which is unfortunate because there's no value in that particular conversation. However, I don't like anything that's going to influence legislation. I just, you know what? I'm not a fan of that. Anyway, the article also questions the creative potential of a Harry Potter TV show, arguing that there are only 7 books to draw from and not many unadapted storylines to explore. That's actually not true. There is a lot there, a lot of nuance that gets overlooked in the fucking show. You don't have to make it a 22 episode season. You can do 8-9 episodes and have it cover pretty goddamn well, because, you know, there's a whole bunch that went in. Those books get longer over time. Those books get way longer over time. The first couple books, right? Sorcerer's Stone, Chamber of Secrets, those ones, you know, you might have to like condense a little bit. Fine. You know what I mean? You could find a way to maybe condense those a bit or focus on specific scenes, right? You could have an entire, like, again, Chamber has the whole thing with the Polyjuice potion, and then fighting the basilisk. There's a lot there to cover. There's a lot more there to cover. There's a lot more there with Quidditch they could cover. There's a lot more there with the internal thoughts of Harry Potter and what he's experiencing. There's a lot more they could do with expanding upon Voldemort and making him the whole he who shall not be named and giving us more of a lead-in for what's going to happen in book 4. There is so much they could do. And they tried doing this in the movies because Stephen Kloves, who wrote the vast majority of the scripts, you know, J.K. Rowling had told him where things was going to go all the way back when he was writing the first movie. So if you notice at the end of Chamber of Secrets, after Hermione gets unstoned, right? She comes into the Great Hall and her and Ron kind of share this weird, awkward moment. And I'm all like, yeah, they're going to hook up when they're older. Because they laid the groundwork for it, because that's how this kind of shit works in these kind of adaptations. And that is literally just where things are going to go. All right. Like that's kind of just, again, it's completely bullshit. About why some of this stuff, you know, again, some of these arguments don't make a lot of sense. All right. Anyway, to kind of finish it up here, because there's a little bit more. The author also argues that by stretching the books out to lengthy TV seasons risks boring audiences with slow pacing, and that not all the books have enough substance to sustain 8 hours of storytelling, which again, as I just said, they do. Furthermore, the article criticizes the proposal for being a lose-lose scenario visually because of the way the Harry Potter world has been marketed in merchandise, theme parks, video games, and more. But then again, the visual, if they shoot a lot of it, let's say on the volume, they could actually save some money. Again, they could do that. I mean, it's going to cost money, but it's like, again, it spreads out over the course of the 7 seasons. Then the article also argues that the inclusion of diverse casting in the TV show as a way of skirting around Rowling's rhetoric is disingenuous. There was diverse casting in the movie. There was diverse casting in the books, right? Like not everybody is pale-faced white cracker motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, again, when we talk about this, they have to find a way to go from transphobia to racism. Right? They got to find a way. Never mind the fact that, look, a lot of people got mad at the Black Hermione in the, Cursed Child book, or in the play adaptation, right? And guess what? J.K. Rowling was like, yeah, no, I emphatically support this. And her word was emphatically. They don't want to mention that shit. That's why it's so fucking fun. That's why op-eds like this and the reading and the crying on Twitter don't mean shit. Literally, don't mean shit. Because it's just ridiculous. Now, the author also goes on to say here that that is still lining the pockets of Rowling, who has canceled projects headlined and made by women of color, and that it does nothing to support trans artists or oppose transphobia. And again, it's like, I'm just going to say it. Not everything has to be political. And also not everything is about you. I think we need to have that conversation sometimes. You can support these things. You can support these movements, but also understand that not everyone is going to be on with you. And it comes across as pedantic whining for the most part. All right. Because at the end of the day, this article is really trying to argue against the ethical nature of having a Harry Potter fucking show because of J.K. Rowling. Like, no, you fucking moron. It's like, she's going to get paid regardless. Whatever fucking happens. Harry Potter, Hogwarts Legacy sold 12 million copies. And how much of that was done because you people were crying and whining your ass off on social media? Or how much of that was done because people genuinely love the property? And people genuinely supported the game. And people genuinely liked the game. And there were people who were also streamers who just wanted to play the game and then were harassed off of platforms because they just wanted to play a game because that's part of their fucking job. This is a lose-lose situation. Hold on, Danny. The thing is, no, again, you're misconstruing my point. She's not a racist, but they have to find a way to argue that she is a racist by trying to bring up if there was diverse casting in the show, that's just going to skirt around the issue. Diverse casting in the show isn't going to skirt around shit. That's what we're talking about here. The fucking person who wrote this article, Douglas Leman, is trying to make that connection. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying, is it's trying to make that connection because that's all they've got. You know. So, yeah, I know. I just, the politics and culture. This is one of those things though, where it's like, you're mad at a person who would be largely, would be involved, but really not as much as you might think, is what I'm trying to say. I think a Harry Potter show is a good fucking idea. I think people would watch it. I think it would make money. And I really do feel that people would eventually just get the fuck over it. Danny, okay, you said maybe you're blinded by your lib rage. And I think that's in part, maybe. But it's okay. You're passionate and you want to stand up for people in marginalized groups. I don't view that as a bad thing. All right? I don't. I have looked at the comments that she made, and I've heard those comments echoed by a lot of women who aren't transphobic, but just don't understand, right? They don't understand how society is shifting on this conversation. And part of the problem with that is that people out there do not want to have that conversation. People, look, ignorance, racism, all that shit is a learned trait. Okay. It's a learned trait. So you have to educate people as to why they shouldn't be a way that they were maybe inherently taught. Not to say that women who are looking at the trans community and going like, are all transphobic. Again, they look at it from a different perspective. And this is the only way I can view it because I'm a guy. I'm a cishet white dude. I identify with my penis. All that shit. But what I'm saying is, like, again, there's not conversations on social media. It is literally just dog pile after dog pile after dog pile, which usually prompts a snarky comeback. Like, oh, look, I'm going to bring up a very quick piece of previous drama to illustrate a point using people you guys all know. In the recent fight with Mad Max over the situation involving the threat against RJ, Max has repeatedly said, if you've listened, that RJ had a snarky comeback, right? RJ had a snarky comeback to Max, and Max didn't like that. The reason why RJ had that defensive snarky comeback was because as soon as we got into the call, Max hit him with a lecture. There wasn't like a nice soft lead in. There wasn't any foreplay. There wasn't any fucking, there wasn't any stroking. It was straight into the fucking hardcore pegging. None of that shit. So RJ kind of felt hit with it. So what happens is your defense mechanisms kick in. RJ uses sarcasm as a defense mechanism. So RJ comes back with something snarky. Max looks at that as an aggressive response because he's not approaching it from the most, he's coming at it from his own impassioned perspective. And what you have is an immovable object that is now meeting an unstoppable force. and nothing ever gets done. That's my whole point. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. It's like all this shit could largely be just like talked about in a situation. Like I had a friend of mine come to me the other day and she's like, why do I have to put my fucking pronouns and everything? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. Like, why is it that like I have to put she, her in my bio? And I'm like, you don't have to, but it's just if in case someone, you know, so they don't ask you, like, they just know. It's like, yeah, but that's stupid. Like, I'm a woman. Like, yeah, but like, you know, maybe someone, you know, they identify differently. But the thing is, it's like she didn't understand. And it's not that she doesn't want to be supportive. She's like, but it sounds so dumb. Right. But again, it's just, it's, you know, the concept of inclusion largely comes from a social space of being very, 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 you know, like hammer and anvil sort of thing. It's just, it beats you with it rather than like, it's not that people are against it, but if you start beating somebody with something when they're asking questions and they don't understand why something is happening, you then immediately shut the conversation down. And I have my own problems with that because like I'll fucking go after Fandom Menace and shit. And I'm like, they're sexist, bigot, misogynist, racist motherfuckers. They may not see themselves that way. So the key is like, so then it does shut down the conversation. And I'm a bit blunt on that front. But again, it's very true. It's very fucking true. If you don't have the information on that front, then you get hit with something, people are going to come at you. And that's what social media does. So I believe personally, Twitter and other elements of that have very much done a lot to destroy the fabric of conversation on all fucking fronts. On all fucking fronts. And that's a big problem. That's where I see it anyway. So anyway, where do you, hold on, let me just make sure I caught up on supers here. Anyway, that's all it is. That's all I'm saying on that one there. You know, the watcher here says people just want to go to the movies and be entertained, not take a political education test. I mean, yeah, I understand that. So, all right. So let me just get to some supers real quick and we'll get into the Mario stuff. So thank you guys very much on that one for being patient. Tonight's a bit of a politically charged night. I'll fully admit, you know, today was an interesting day. Okay. Garrick here is, asking, what is your ranking of the Shrek movies? It goes, Shrek 2, Shrek 1, Shrek 4, Shrek 3. And then, but if you were going to add the Puss in Boots in that, which I don't think you should, it would probably be like Shrek 1, The Last Wish, or Shrek 2, The Last Wish, Shrek 1, Shrek 4, Puss in Boots, Shrek 3. Shrek 3 wasn't my favorite. I've watched it a bunch more because of my kids, and it's grown on me quite a bit as like a direct continuation from number 2. Shrek 3 is really like Shrek 2.5 and everything else. But yeah, it's still really good. And then also Garrick here says, thank you. They should make shows to expand the Harry Potter world, but considering Fantastic Beasts burned out, I understand why they're going back to the OG books. You're right. And here's the other thing with that too. They could take the OG books and expand. There's a lot of little stories in there they could talk about. There's little things they could do to help kind of move things forward and give you a broader view. Giving us a show, really showing what happened. Like the pilot episode of the show should be about the night Harry and Lily died, or James and Lily died, and then end with Lily's death. And then the next episode starts with McGonagall and Dumbledore on the street outside of the house. You know what I mean? Like, there should be like, you should do a real lead in on that. You can do a lot with it. There's a lot there to pull from to expand outward to 7 seasons. But again, a lot of people are arguing finances, and it's like, no. Fantastic Beasts is a concept that was just so plagued with problems because it didn't really, okay, here's why Fantastic Beasts kind of crapped out. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was trying to make Newt Scamander the new Harry Potter, when in reality, the entirety of that story was Dumbledore versus Grindelwald, which is exactly what it should have been. It should have always been Dumbledore versus Grindelwald and go from there. That's what it should have been. And they didn't do that, and that was a problem. If they wanted to have it be a Newt Scamander thing, then that should have been a book series released first and then adapted into a movie. But they should have just gone for the key battle, Dumbledore versus Grindelwald, and then lead into Tom Morvolo Riddle. That's what they should have done. Command Unit here says, we know that there will be a Black Hermione. I mean, at this point, yeah, there would be. There probably would be, or a light-skinned Hermione. Mostly what would happen on that would be like, for one, J.K. Rowling has emphatically supported that too. Emma Watson would come out and very much be in support of that. Casting directors would be looking for that. And if they didn't cast that, they would probably end up finding themselves with a little bit of controversy. However, to be fair, that controversy on the casting choice would probably really kind of overshadow a fair amount of anything else. So if they want to go down that path, right? But again, it all boils down to how good Harry Potter is. The show would be how good it is, who's the team behind it, who's directing it, things like that. Okay. Reed says, I sent you the teaser. If you don't know, yeah, I'll take a look at the teaser when we get to the end of the stuff. Brian here says, any potential thoughts for Gaga's Harley since Joker 2 wrapped production today in NYC? It's also Warner Brothers Discovery's 100th anniversary, to being a huge, so I did see that I thought I grabbed an image for it. I did. I forgot to add it to my thing. Anyway, Joker wrapped up filming, and Joker comes out October of next year. A year and a half we have to wait for the movie to be done, which to me seems really weird considering I don't think it's going to be as effects heavy as other movies. But again, that's what they want to do. It's going to be 5 years in between Joker 1 and Joker 2. But we'll have to wait and see what happens. I think it's going to be very interesting. For me, I'm going to be super interested to see what happens with Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. I don't know what they're going to do with the character, but I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with the character. So thank you for that one. FNAF also wrapped filming. Okay. I didn't know that. I did not know that FNAF wrapped filming. I'm excited for FNAF as well. That should be really fascinating when that whole thing, when that whole thing finally decides it wants to get its ass together. It's been so long. Who knows at this point what we're gonna get to. So, all right, let us dive in to the main topic of the night. Why 134 of you guys are here right now. Super Mario Brothers movie right now on Rotten Tomatoes has fucking 54% out of 91 reviews. Will this go up to at least crack the 60 in order to at least get to the fresh rating? I'm going to assume yes. But at the same time, there's a lot of very weird responses to this particular movie that I find to be fascinating, because I feel like people are largely criticizing a game where the entire plot is the princess is kidnapped by the gigantic dinosaur creature. She's in a castle. You got to make your way through 8 castles in order to rescue her. That's the story. Right? Right? It's going to be a little bit on the simplistic side. It's the character work, goddammit. John here says it's hard to convert a game into a movie. I mean, The Last of Us did a good job as a TV show. But then again, The Last of Us as a TV show is very much something that is all tied into, the narrative structure. So, Shidoko here says, the rule, if the critic think is bad, it must be good. That's not always the case, but largely that's the case. Blessing says, everyone says that if you're a fan of Mario and already know the story beats, then you'll love it. Exactly. I think that's the whole fucking thing. Right? Like, I think that's the whole, Phantom Menace Elser says that the Rotten Tomato score was in the 40s a little bit ago, which is true. It was. And it jumped up to 55 and then it dropped to 54. Command Unit here for 2. Thank you, buddy. Says Speed Racer is my #1 film. So fudge the critics. Speed Racer is the shit. I love Speed Racer. Love Speed Racer. So yes, I completely agree with you. That movie is amazing. I can't wait. Ryan here says, I can't wait to see this movie. Damn straight. I got my tickets for tomorrow. Already excited to go see it. But all right, let's take a look here at the Rotten Tomatoes page. This is what they're saying. Let me just kind of zoom in a bit. All right, so critical consensus says, while it's nowhere near as thrilling as turtle tipping your way to 128 lives, the Super Mario Brothers movie is a colorful, albeit thinly plotted animated adventure that has about as many Nintendos as Nintendo. Oh my God, that is. Whoever wrote this, fire them out of Bowser's canon. Just no. What are you doing? What is this? What is this? Anyway, let's move into what some of the top critics are saying about this. All right, Kimmy Robinson here, Arizona Republic, says, with a soundtrack of 80s hits and a score that incorporates the game's iconic sound effects and songs, the animated film infuses old with new. That's all I wanted out of this movie. That's literally it. That's literally all I wanted. I've been playing Mario since I was a wee lad. I love Mario. It's me, Mario, wahoo, let's go, right? Like, it's a fucking dude. I saw Charles Martinet once, at the Nintendo booth at E3, and I was like, fuck me, dude, that's Charles Martinet. Hell yeah, dog, right? Like, it's just, no, man, Mario's got, people have been going to the Super Mario World in Universal LA, and they're fucking crying when they go on in. I've been watching a bunch of videos. Even my daughter's like, Mario, Yoshi, Luigi, Princess Peach. We were watching the SNL Mario Kart thing that they did, the Pedro Pascal one, where it's like the dark version of Mario Kart. And when Chloe Fineman was on screen as Princess Peach, even my 5-year-old just went like, is that Princess Peach? Like, it's iconic to children, and it's been iconic to children since children were children when the shit came out, and even adults who liked it back in the day. What the fuck is wrong with critics, man? That's my question. What the hell is happening with these soulless bloodsuckers? Right? Ryan asking, do I know who Charles Martinet is playing in the movie? I don't. I do not know that. And that's okay. I don't want to know. I do not want to know. It is, it's crazy, man. It's absolutely fucking crazy. So let's see. Shogun here says, Mario with 80s hits makes sense, but then it doesn't. No 80s music in game, so it's a bit weirdish to me. It's a reflection of the time. Most likely, Mario Brothers is set in the 1980s. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but if there's, I think it's set in the 1980s, and it's very indicative of the 1980s. Although I do feel that the 90s is probably where you get a lot of, the big boost and stuff. But then again, I just want to know, is there going to be a reference to the Morton Jankel movie? I hope so. I really hope so. I'm so excited to see this tomorrow, you guys. You have no idea how excited I am to see this. Kazra here says they do not have kids. I think it's not necessarily that, Kazra. I think it's not that they have kids. It's that they've forgotten what it's like to be a kid. You know what I mean? Like, they've forgotten what it's like to be a kid. That's what I think a lot of it boils down to. Captain Biggins here says Super Mario Bros. 3 was iconic, and I hope we get a warship or two referenced in the film. I think we are. CJH, thank you for that. We'll get to that super chat once I'm done with the Mario topic. So thank you. I do appreciate that one. Anyway, let us keep moving on and looking at this nonsense. All right, so the internet was right. Chris Pratt is all wrong as the title character in the Mario Brothers movie from the guy from Globe and Mail, okay? Katie Walsh, LA Times, says, a mildly amusing, swift, noisy, and unrelentingly paced. Okay? Again, what does that have to do with the plot? Yeah. All right, Jake Coyle, Associated Press, says, none of this is likely to be enough for anyone to exclaim, oh yeah, while hopping up and down and doffing their cap. But it's an hour and a half's worth of superlative marketing that will whet your appetite for more Mario back home on the couch. And you know what? That's fine. A.A. Dowd from Kron gave it a negative review, saying all that pristine computer animation is akin to polishing, well, what Mario finds in pipes during his day job. That's not even funny. You idiot. Eric Francisco from Inverse says, with a pixel-thin premise and a plot propelled by candy-induced sugar rush, The Super Mario Brothers movie is an overstuffed 90 minutes of colorful, inoffensive fun. And you gave it a rotten review. What were you expecting? The Godfather? You know, Mario like, you will come to me at my daughter's wedding, and I'm going to give you an offer you cannot refuse. So let's go and make a deal. Fucking morons, dude. Jesus Christ here. What were you? This isn't fucking Citizen Kane. You... My God. Yeah, the Mario father. Exactly. Exactly. Jesus fucking Christ. You know what I'm going to do? Hold on here. You know what I'm going to do real quick? I'm going to go over my mid-journey. All right. I'm going to ask it here. Okay, imagine Mario as the Godfather sitting in a black leather chair holding a white cat while wearing a tuxedo. All right, we're going to try that. 16 by 9. Yeah, we're going to try that, see what it is. Okay, we're going to make that image and see what pops up. But anyway, this is all fucking insane stupidity. Insane stupidity here. Let's see. Moviecrypt.com says it's like an 80-minute cutscene, but there's certainly a market for it. A final cut playing it safe, offending no one, and casting a wide nostalgic net by coloring strictly within the lines. A fun film for kids of all ages. Yeah. Here we go. It's a fucking kids movie, dude. It's a kid. Look, I'm not going to go, as much as I love Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which is, again, amazing movie. Love the messaging, love the story, love what they did with it. I'm not going into to this movie going like, I want something that is going to challenge my view of death and my view of life and everything. You know, from that particular perspective. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's stupid as shit, guys. You know, it's so goddamn stupid. It is just unfortunately, where we find ourselves on this stuff. You know, yeah. Anyway, so I want to see if I can find the one I'm looking for here. There's one specific one I'm looking for, and it definitely ties into what I want to look at next. I just gotta find it. I just gotta find what Miss Grace Randolph said about this. Because remember, she said this movie offended her. So she says, totally inaccessible for non-fans of the Super Mario game, from Nintendo fans. Fans might even have a hard time with the non-existent, antiquated, and somewhat offensive story. Shocking misfire for Illumination, the only bad movie they've ever made. Like, the fuck are you talking about? The absolute ever-loving fuck are you raving about? And so I had to put this together. When I read that, it comes across as unhinged. When I read that, it very much comes across as just Grace doesn't understand the core idea of what it is she's attempting to do. All right. Like, she just doesn't fucking get it, you know? And real quick here, just to show you guys this, we'll go back. But like I said, I just went into Midjourney and I had it make me, Mario. This is the Mario father, you guys. The Mario father, there you have it. All right. I just made that, or had that made real quick. That's actually pretty cool. Anyway, yeah, going back to the Baba Yaga of fucking film criticism here. Anyway, yeah, she calls the movie offensive. But it's like, you know, Forther says she's talking about how Mario dropped the N-bomb. There you go. John here says, I got to screenshot that face. I could send you the image, bro. It took me a little while to kind of make this, but anyway, I think it's pretty fucking funny. That being said, why don't we take a look here at her review? At least like up to the why so bad sort of thing. I don't know if I want to go through the full 14 minutes, but my God, there's one line she makes in this. There's one line. I saw this floating around on Twitter, and I'm not going to spoil it, but she literally like offends an entire culture of people. And it's great. It's great. Because like, she's just, again, Grace Randolph, I just fucking crazy. Yeah. Start on torture. Should I start on torture? Okay. I'll start on torture. All right. Yeah. I don't need to go into her fucking press screening and shit. Good job. Okay. We're going to start on torture.
I'm watching a movie since DC Super Pets. I would describe both of these movies as torture to sit through. Whew. And I like comic books. I like mythology. I get into stuff. I'm open to getting into new fandoms. So the fact that I was like, make it stop, was pretty bad. Although I wanted to walk out of DC Super Pets, as I told you. And the only reason I stayed was because, I'm reviewing it. I'd love to be able to say, hey, it gets really good. Narrator, it does not. And also the visuals here were pretty good. And I really like Anya Taylor-Joy's Princess Peach and Seth Rogen's Donkey Kong. So, it wasn't quite as bad as Super Pets, but it was close. It was bad. But
here's the thing, though, is like, I haven't seen Super Pets, but like most people I've talked to about Super Pets have all told me that it's actually pretty good. Again, it's largely inoffensive. It's pretty much just straightforward. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of, it seems like it's not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? So I don't know what about Super Pets is so offensive. Again, I find that to be really interesting, but let's keep going.
Speaking of the amazing visuals, Super Mario Brothers is available in 3D. And if you like 3D and you're willing to pay a couple of extra bucks for it, you might want to consider it. Also, maybe as a safety net, because the movie's so bad, at least you'll have peak visuals. Particularly the Mario Kart sequences. When I was watching those, I was like, wow, I bet these would look pretty good in 3D. I mean, I think the movie's actually been made to be seen in 3D. I think they should be advertising that more. Like the Rainbow Road gets all swirly, and then the camera starts swirling, and you're like, oh, this is cool. And I did feel, I was like, oh, why aren't I watching this in 3D? Now, as I said, I've been able to get into other mythologies, but I just couldn't get into this movie despite being a ready and willing participant. I was like, come on, Nintendo World, indoctrinate me.
Play the games, Grace. Play the games. Play the game. That's it. That's all you got to do. That's literally it. Isn't right? Right? Am I like, she's like, no, indoctrinate me into your franchise. Get me into your fandom. You're like, fucking 30 years of games. All you got to do is play the games. Yeah, sure, there's maybe not like the most rock solid story, but you understand the core concepts. And as you're going through the games, you start to kind of fall in love with the core concepts. You enjoy what it is they're trying to do. The simplicity of the Mushroom Kingdom. The idea of Mario just trying to like collect 120 stars in Super Mario 64. The different variations of the world, the platforming elements of it, the interactive nature of Mario will ultimately get you into Mario. It's not like, this isn't Warhammer 40K, you psycho. This is not Warhammer 40K. This is not fucking even Star Wars, which is still pretty basic to get into. This is Mario. You can easily just watch Mario. Ralph Stubble here says, boring games, there's no 10 out of 10 Mario. Shut the fuck up, dude. Shut the Super Mario World begs to differ. Super Mario 64 begs to differ, all right? Mario Kart begs to differ. Skywalker Brian says, it's not hard to pick up a controller and understand the source material or watch a video. I know. It's just like, she's like, indoctrinate me into your fandom, but I'm going to do no preliminary research to make sure I understand the references presented before me.
So I thought about it, and I saw it last night, and I've been like, why couldn't I get into this movie? And this morning, eureka, it clicked, and I realized the problem. The Super Mario Brothers movie, this latest one, they did the live action one many years ago. But while this is supposed to be an origin story where Mario and Luigi do discover the Mushroom Kingdom for the very first time, I didn't even know it was called the Mushroom Kingdom. I had to look it up. It's not even made clear in the movie.
Motherfucker.
But the movie is written for fans and fans only. Nothing is explained to the audience.
That's okay. That's absolutely all right. Because the fans are going to be the ones that also bring the people in. And I'm just going to say this, right? As a midlife dude who's got 2 young kids, who grew up playing Mario, who remembers the day back in the 80s when my stepdad brought home the NES for the first time. It had the Power Pad. It had the Mario Brothers Duck Hunt Power Pad combo cartridge. And playing Mario as much as I did, and loving Mario as much as I did, and playing all the games and everything else, I look forward to sharing that with my kids. That's what a lot of parents are going to do, is very, very, very much enjoy this with their kids. That's the entire point of this. The watcher here says, Grace's whole video is literally whiny Crimea River. I know. Kunstier says, what I believe is happening is critics who weren't allowed to play video games or grew up hating video games because they are nerdy are the ones giving it thumbs down. I don't necessarily think that you're entirely wrong on that. It's so weird about this. What's so weird is like, it's almost like, I've said this before. I really, at this point, feel most critics hate their job. I do. I feel most critics hate their job. And to be fair, you guys, I kind of relate. And I say this because, like, as much as I love talking about movies, largely talking about movie news is like, I enjoy it, but it's not doing it for me as it used to, right? Whereas like talking about movies is something I really enjoy and I get hyped up for that. So it's like, I understand. I just want to, like, if I could do a movie a night, we talk about a movie, that'd be great. But it's like, again, it's just, unfortunately, the way this shit's designed it makes it difficult. You know what I mean? So it's like, I understand that concept, but it's like, this is a movie. Like, you gotta, how can you not go into this movie and be just like, I'm just gonna go watch a fucking plumber from Brooklyn fucking beat on some Goombas and shit. Like, it ain't fucking Godfather, motherfucker. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Let's keep going.
Not the world, not the characters, not the circumstances, and not even really the point. Now, some of you might be like, good, I'm a fan, and I just want to get to it. I mean, there's nothing to get to, but, a good screenwriter, screenwriting, it's always been disrespected in Hollywood, but this is like, it's at its lowest point right now. Like, a good screenwriter can make this fun for everyone, right? This is like Nintendo Easter Egg the movie, the opposite of Andor. This is just all Easter eggs. You just choke on them. It's too much candy. After a brief opening, which is very Illumination, it seems more Illumination than Nintendo, you could be watching a scene from Sing or Secret Life of Pets, quite frankly. But then after that, there's like no story. Well, and what little story they do have, I found a couple of things. One was confusing. Like, why don't any of the other humans look like Mario and his family? And why is the human world super realistic, yet full of cartoon-looking characters? I was like, that's weird.
What? Sorry. My God, Grace Randolph, touch grass. All right. This is her. Let's be fair, guys. Padded cell. All right. I tried to prompt in a couple cats in there. Apparently, it didn't work out. But at this point, she's just like, lock her up. Just lock her up. This is terrible. Let's keep going.
The animation, though, again, is stunning. And some of the backgrounds in the human world looked almost real. But again, that was so bizarre that there were cartoons running around in there. Back to the story, I would also say it's a little disturbing. Because apparently in the games, Bowser, I had to look it up, Bowser is obsessed with Princess Peach. And has been for a very long time. But in today's marketplace, post-Me Too, to hear Bowser declare that he's going to ask Princess Peach to marry him, which apparently isn't a spoiler because I looked it up and it happens in the games all the time. But he's like, I'm going to ask Princess Peach to marry me. And like his little sycophant sorcerer is like, what if she doesn't want to? And he's like, then I'll destroy her kingdom and kill everyone she knows. And you're like, wow, that's stalker behavior. And I would say kind of makes this not appropriate for children, quite frankly.
Oh my God. You've got to be fucking kidding me, right? Like, what? Ryan here says she hasn't played Super Mario Odyssey. She hasn't played any of the games. I had to look it up, you guys. I had to look it up. Can I ask Mid-Journey to review Hell's Reach? I don't think it works that way, Command Unit. But I'll try something with it. We'll get back to you on that one though. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I just want to get to this one here before this is next for Chris Pratt is doing Garfield, the voice made by Sony but owned by Viacom. Thanks Jim Davis for making that mess. Yeah. Well, hey, look, Chris Pratt, the guy's got to work, obviously. Holy shit.
And in fact, I would argue that most of the movie is about who's going to date Princess Peach. And that's it. My jaw was on the floor. I'm like, is that really what this movie is about? That is a really outdated story. I think fans and just moviegoers in general and everybody associated with this film deserve more. And it's a shame because Jack Black does a fantastic job as Bowser. You can't even recognize that it's Jack Black's voice. Then Bowser sings and you're like, oh yeah, he's voiced by Jack Black. And you still can't tell that it's Jack Black. And I think that
really? Because like the very first time I heard Jack Black I heard Bowser say, "And who's gonna stop me?" in the trailer, I'm like, that's Jack Black. I mean, I knew he was in the movie, but like, it's Jack Black, right? Like, did you guys know who here has seen The Croods 2, The New Age? You know, Jack Black sings the song at the end credits, right? Like, dude, it's Jack Black. Like, fuck me, man. How is she
talent is definitely here. It's really just the script. So Jack Black was fantastic. Also, in an effort to move away from speaking of disturbing, I would also classify this movie as a little offensive because instead of doing the Italian accents, ironically, because they were worried about being offensive, instead they decided to give everyone a variation of a New York accent, which again, I found kind of offensive. It's like everyone's either in Goodfellas or a Woody Allen movie. And not just in the New York scenes, by the way. Mario and Luigi live in New York City. But you're like, when you get to the Mushroom Kingdom, Donkey Kong Land is the same way. And so you're just kind of like, why would you make that choice? Like, why do you think that's somehow not offensive and the Italian thing would be? It's just crazy.
Oh, yeah. What? Okay, like obviously that is in reference to the old Super Mario Brothers Super Show from the 80s. All right. Obviously, those accents are definitely in response to that. She again never saw this. Like, I live in New York City and I find that offensive. But she's gonna say something that she's gonna say with an absolute straight face that is way more offensive than the fucking accent stuff.
The movie also leans really heavily on classic hit songs, a little bit the way Guardians of the Galaxy has done. And sometimes it gets your blood pumping. It's not a bad strategy, but here it's very poorly executed. Like everything, just when you're like, okay, now we're cooking, it peters out, and they're like, okay, we're done, and you're like, oh, you promised me a fun jam. Like when they start to make the Mario Karts and one of the Kongs is like puts on his shades and he's like, what do you want me to do for you? But he just says it with a nod and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And it seems like it's going to be awesome. The music starts, they turn up the volume and then they're done. And I was like, I guess if you've ever built your own Mario Kart, you'd be like, oh, cool. It's just like the game. But as someone who has never built a Mario Kart, I still have not had the pleasure of the experience.
Sorry, I was muted. You make a lot of money on YouTube. Go get a Switch. It's available at your local Best Buy or Walmart or Target or Kmart or whatever. Might be, who knows? You can get it relatively with ease. Go to the Toys R Us store in Times Square and go and pick one up and get Mario. And there you go. You've got the context to understand what it is you're viewing. Wow. Wow. Oh my God.
But I did really like Anya Taylor-Joy. She is always a delight as an actress on screen, but it turns out she has a great voice for animation as well. And she's a great sport. Look what she wore to the premiere for the movie. A variation on Princess Peach's Mario Kart outfit. I thought that was great. I am a little tired, though, of girl power for the sake of girl power characters. Like, if you're not going to fully develop...
Remember, guys, Grace Randolph, as far as we understand it, really does hate women. She does. She does not like other women. She does not like women at all. That is something that oftentimes happens. You know, so that's why it's, holy shit. Like, it's just fucking hysterical. Like, you gotta be kidding me on this one. Oh my gosh. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting to the point I want to get to.
Develop them, I just get frustrated because I know certain groups are going to complain. And you know, you should have justification for things. It's like, if you're not going to do it right, don't do it. And again, she's all girl power, but yet the movie is just about who she's going to date. She's a princess in name only. I didn't see her make any rules or control the kingdom or anything. You know, she just kind of went on a date with Mario, and Bowser was really jealous about it. And you're like, is this really what this movie is about? Keegan-Michael Key's voice is also unrecognizable as Toad, which is a shame. I love Keegan-Michael Key. But Toad is adorable, and he serves as a good ad for his new restaurant at Universal Studios. In fact, I wish he'd done more cooking. I was like, oh, that's why he has a restaurant. That's great. That's awesome. What are you making? There was one quick moment where I can't do a spoiler review for this movie because I still can't really tell you what happened in it. But there was like one distraction, and I felt like they didn't even do that right. I was like, tell them that there's good food back there, Mario. Why do you be like, hey, he's cooking up something back there. I was like, that's clearly the move. All right, so speaking of Mario, how's Chris Pratt? Everybody wants to know, how's Chris Pratt? Well, he's doing a thick New York accent, so he doesn't sound too much like Chris Pratt. I mean, occasionally you're like, there he is. And Chris Pratt, by the way, outside of the controversy that surrounds him, he's a very good actor, a very likable actor, and he does a good job in that regard with, the emotion and all that stuff. He certainly is able to.
The controversy she's referring to is the church that he attends, and like the church he used to attend, because there was a time when Chris Pratt kind of became like a born again Christian, and we all know those are like the absolute worst, right? And he's actually largely backed away from that now. It's not that he's not religious. It's not that he doesn't have his faith, but I think he realized that a lot of that kind of rhetoric, damaged his brand. I think it really did kind of damage the fun Chris Pratt that people really like, because he became like the serious, like, very Bible thumping Chris Pratt. And that ended up like, pushing people off, whatever. But with this whole thing, with the homophobic pastor or whatever, like James Gunn has come out and defended him and whatever. And I think Chris Pratt himself has like largely distanced himself. It's really not that big of a deal. It really was never that big of a deal. But of course, Grace is going to sit there and say, well, with this controversy, it's not even a fucking thing. It's not even a fucking thing. So it's just like, again, it's all just kind of whatever the fuck. No, he doesn't go to the homophobic church. Like, he doesn't go there anymore. Right? Like, there's been some miscommunication on that one. Go look it up again. I mean, let me know if I'm wrong, but like, go look it up again. Yeah, he just doesn't attend that church anymore. I think that's what it is. Right? But again, like, there's that kind of stuff. Sarah says, I don't think so. I think it made him stronger. I disagree, but that's just my take on it. I actually stopped liking Chris Pratt as much once I found out that once he started doing the Bible thump and stuff. I know that I don't know. Like, again, I like the guy, but it's like the fun Chris Pratt from Parks and Rec days was gone. And now you just get this guy like, yeah, I just got to go fucking pray on it. Like, fuck, dude, you're boring. That's just how I view it. Elliot Page accused him of going to a church he never attended. Was that really what it is? Yeah, there's, again, a lot of stuff there going on. If you want to see a good Chris Pratt movie, I mean, he's a bit character in the movie, but check out Take Me Home Tonight with Topher Grace and Teresa Palmer. It's from the creators of that 70s show. And they did a movie. They shot it in 2007. It didn't release until 2011, but it's really good. So let's see. This is here. It says Chris Pratt is going from overweight Italian plumber to overweight Italian orange tabby cat. Well, there you go, man. That's moving up in the world. That is moving up in the world. Definitely doing his thing. Thank you for that. Plushie here says Matt should watch God's Not Dead. No, I value my brain cells. Thank you. Also, Kevin Sorbo can pound sand. Not a fan of that stuff. Anyway, let's keep going here.
Deliver in that capacity. But again, the script is so awful. Mario and Luigi's relationship just seems really forced. It's like screenwriter Matthew Fogel, who should never work again, he's done a couple of stuff for Illumination. That's about it. It's like he saw Frozen and decided to do the male version of Elsa and Anna, but none of the work to make it work. And since they insisted on putting Mario in the real world, so to speak, why do he and Luigi wear those funny outfits and gloves? I was like, you guys look ridiculous. I mean,
this is torture, you guys. This is torture. This is legit torture. The fuck is she babbling about? Like, oh my God. This is just, yeah, no, I'm going to get to the other super chat that you left. You know, oh, here we go. Sorry. Donkey Kong in the games now is the son of the original Donkey Kong. Okay, cool. Thank you. Thank you. And then also Maverick here says, for 5, I can't wait till you watch Miss Marvel and then watch her review. She gets so salty. Like I've never seen her so mad and offended. Really? Yeah. Maybe we should do that. Just like watch Grace Randolph reviews one night. Cause like they're so bad. I like her breakdowns. I like her breakdowns of, you know, I like their breakdowns and shit. So hold on. So Shogun here. Did I get this one? Well, the new Puss in Boots supposedly had a well-developed plot, like too well. Maybe they're comparing Mario to that. Okay. You know what? Yeah, maybe they are. Maybe they are. Puss in Boots is a godsend of a movie. You're probably right on that one there. All right. And then also Companion. I just want to make sure I get these because I'm kind of behind. Personally, I don't like the Shrek style films, so this is definitely not my type of movie. The Sonic films also have a similar feeling. Here's the thing though, is like, look, I love the Shrek movies, but I understand they're not for everybody. Sonic, I think, did a really, really, really good job of doing what it tried to do and doing it well and making it really connect with audiences. But again, I understand that they're not for everybody. I mean, that's when we do stuff like, you know, like the anime night and whatever. Not everybody likes it, you know, but it's like it does kind of expose some people to different things, and the same thing you do with the 40K stuff, you know. So all right, let's keep going.
None of it made sense. Nothing made sense. So it was hard for me to get into it. Speaking of Mario and Luigi, though, Charles Martinet, he had a nice cameo. He is the OG and current voice of Mario and Luigi in the games, and a lot of fans were disappointed he's not voicing them here. But even I was like, oh, that's Charles Martinet. That's awesome. And I think it was a very nice thing to do for him. He showed up, I think, twice. He showed up like twice. Very, very briefly, but it was cute. Even the action sequences aren't that exciting. There's like no suspense. It's just like, oh, hey, look, it's like the game. But you never really feel like you're running any of the gauntlets yourself. You still look like you're watching the game screen instead of being put into the action. That's the whole benefit of making it a movie. And then when could Mario turn into a cat? I guess like if you're into furries, that works. And maybe that'll play really well in Asian markets. I know they love cats over there, like love cats. But I just felt it robbed Mario of a lot of his personal dignity. I was like, don't do that to Mario. Where's Mario's agent? There are also 2 end credit scenes.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me you know nothing about modern Mario without telling me you know nothing about modern Mario. Not even modern Mario, just Mario in general. It's, my God, it's just like, oh my God, you guys. Ryan here says we should watch Chris Stuckman's review. Yeah, go ahead and send it over. We'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot for a few minutes. I do like Chris Stuckman. And I need a palate cleanser. I need a palate cleanser from this. I agree with Queen Danny. I need weed. You know, it's so bad. Oh my God. All right. I don't even want to finish watching it, to be honest with you. Mostly just because of like how bad that is. I was waiting for the furry comment to pop up because that's the clip I saw today. So she's talking about offensive, right? She's talking about offensive, but in reality, you know, she's like, oh yeah, no, I mean, the cats are going to do really well in the Asian market. Like, are they furries? Like, girl, are you crazy? What are you doing? So, all right, there's enough of that. We've already suffered through enough of that one. Did I mean the Tanuki suit? I think so. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to finish it. I'm not going to finish it because there's end credit scenes and I don't want to see what she says about that because she might spoil it. So there's that. Plus, Chris Stuckman does actually good reviews. And so let's check this out at least for a minute or two.
The Super Mario Bros. Movie is directed by two people most known for their work on Teen Titans Go. One of the directors on this was a co-director on Teen Titans Go to the Movies, which was surprisingly really good. And in this film, Mario ventures to the Mushroom Kingdom, where he teams up with Peach to rescue his brother Luigi from the clutches of the evil Bowser. So obviously I'm a big fan of the Mario games. When I was a kid, I went to Goodwill and found an NES for $10. It was so cheap in retrospect. They're so much more expensive now. And I played Super Mario Bros. 3 forever. Super Mario 64 was one of the most eye-opening experiences I ever had as a young gamer, going from Super Mario World to this fully realized 3D Super Mario. I've never seen a graphical jump that compares to that experience. Super Mario Sunshine on the GameCube, while not loved by everyone, was by me. Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario 3D World, Mario Kart. I mean, there's no end to how much fun I've had with those games. And of course, the first Mario Brothers movie with Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo made Nintendo stop making movies until now. That's how much that movie did not work. And
see, okay, so I understand it's not for everybody. I still, 30 years later, unequivocally defend the 93 Mario Brothers movie. It ain't great. It is what it is, but God damn it, I still fucking love it. Okay? Like, and again, I think a lot of you guys in the chat feel the same way I do. And I would argue, I think even Chris Stuckman probably feels the same way that we do on this one. You know, but yeah, finally someone who knows his shit. Exactly, Ryan.
Nintendo is finally taking a risk once again on the same property because they have so many IPs like Metroid and Zelda and Star Fox. The fact that these aren't movies is mind-blowing. And so this is their big risk. Did it pay off? I feel the same way about the Super Mario Bros. Movie that I did about the first Sonic the Hedgehog film. Do I think Sonic the Hedgehog is a great movie? No. Do I think it's a good film that kids can like and parents can like and that everyone can go to the theater and have a nice Saturday afternoon watching? Yeah, definitely. And that's exactly how I feel about the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I don't think it's a great film. I don't think it has a great story. But at the same time, I haven't played one single Mario game in my life for the story. I play those games because they are visually and audibly appealing and because they have challenging puzzles and innovative controls and ideas that impress me. In general, they are fun. And this movie is a lot of that. Most of the Mario games consist of Mario having to rescue either Peach or Luigi. That's one of the reasons I love Luigi's Mansion so much, because it's actually the other way around. Luigi's Mansion is one of my favorite franchises in Nintendo history. The most recent one, Luigi's Mansion 3, I thought was just perfect. And gratefully, there are references to Luigi's Mansion in this movie. There are tons of references, constantly. And you can tell that they want to make more, and if they do, it'll probably venture into the Super Mario World and 64 territory, and hopefully maybe the Sunshine territory, because as I said, I feel that's a very underrated game. I mean, imagine, like, okay, so Mario is really tired after this movie, and him and Peach just want to go on a vacation. Where do they go? Isle Delfino, of course. And what do you know? Isle Delfino is a total mess. There's shit everywhere. What are you going to do? Oh, look, there's a thing called flood. What does that thing do? Oh, it cleans up the island. We got to clean up this fucking island. And young kids can learn about how litter is bad and you shouldn't pollute your planet and all that kind of great stuff. And Captain Planet can come in and be...
All right, before he even finishes the segment, I just want to say he sold me on that concept. So he's doing more to get me to want to go play Super Mario Sunshine, which I never did, by talking about it in this particular fashion. This, my friends, is a fucking fan. This, my friends, is a fucking ambassador for fandom. All right. This is why I like Chris Stuckman. Thank you for bringing this one to my attention.
Part of it, and the 90s obsession with pollution is bad can just come right back. And we'll get Nickelodeon's The Big Help to sponsor the whole movie, and it'll be perfect. You can see now why it took me so long to get a film made, because I'm terrible at pitching ideas. I thought all the voice cast was great, especially Charlie Day as Luigi and Jack Black as Bowser. Those two were amazing. Anya Taylor-Joy is very good as Peach, and there has been quite a bit of debate and discourse on the internet regarding Chris Pratt's casting as Mario. I think he was totally fine in the movie because the film has a great challenge. Mario isn't like Link. Link literally does not talk. Mario does say things in the games, but usually nothing of great depth. So at least they have a way into the idea that Mario talks. But also, if he spoke the way he does in his video games for the entire movie, that might get old, and it also might not go over that well. So the movie takes the approach of having Mario speak like a person, and occasionally having little flourishes that remind you of Mario from the games. Now, there are videos on YouTube that show comparisons between every dubbed version of Mario from the trailers from multiple different countries. If you're the kind of person that wants to explore all of that and choose which one you like and decide that, in fact, the French Mario is your favorite Mario, great. Have fun doing that. I think Chris Pratt was fine in the movie. For me, the movie really picks up once Donkey Kong is introduced. I've always loved that character. He's voiced here by Seth Rogen. DK64, one of my favorite games of all time. I miss Rareware so much being with Nintendo. Not too long after DK's introduction is a fantastic Mario Kart sequence that really sets the pace and tone for the rest of the movie and how fast it will be. And everything after that moved really fast. Everything before that was just fine. And I had a smile on my face, but I didn't really feel invested. I didn't really care about anything I was watching. And as I already said, that's okay. It's okay to watch a Mario movie that's visually beautiful, that has great music by Brian Tyler, that clearly has a love for the games and is trying its best to show that love in every edge of every frame. Speaking of music though, probably the thing that irritated me about the film the most is its use of songs. Not the Mario score or the famous Mario themes, all of that worked very well. There's just a lot of 80s rock in the movie. And when I think of Mario, probably the last thing I think of is 80s rock. They also used the very famous Battle Without Honor or Humanity cue, made iconic by Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill, and has since been ripped off over and over and over again whenever someone walks in slow motion or suits up for a battle. And it's just stop doing that, please. It's old, it's tired, it's a parody of a parody by this point, and that's gotta go. So like 70% of this movie's music, Brian Tyler's excellent score, loved it. All of the song choices really grated on me and just felt so out of place. That being said, I would like to see another movie in this franchise, and I am just excited that Nintendo has finally allowed one of their IP to get made into a movie, and that it's not bad, that it's actually kind of fun. And I think kids and families really will enjoy this, and that it will go over very well for people, and it probably will make a ton of money. I just feel like if you do another one, there's a lot to be mined from the potential of like an entire Luigi's Mansion-esque movie. If you want to explore other characters that are sort of involved in the Super Smash verse, but not necessarily in Mario, like a Kirby or something along those lines. There's so many things you could do, and I'm excited for those possibilities. And I think this movie is good enough to enjoy wanting more and to be excited about getting more. Because at the end of the day, most people my age in their 30s who go to this movie are just going to be looking for a reminder of how much they enjoy these games, their childhood, things that these characters have meant to them over the course of their lives. And young kids who probably don't have that history with Mario, maybe they've played a game or two, or they don't know about Mario at all, just want to be entertained and have a good time. And I think this movie is going to do very well with that. So if you guys do see it, I'd like to know what you think down below. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was a solid review, unlike this one, which I believe now is even far more representative of this particular image of Grace Randolph in an insane asylum, dressed like the Joker. Yeah, I agree with Jalen. That's what I call a great review. Yeah, Edward here. Thank you, Edward. Says, here's someone who understands who this movie was made for and actually played one of the video games before watching the film. Not just one, but all. Now, he didn't mention Galaxy. And I have a feeling Galaxy is going to be where they go, or Odyssey is going to be where they go. I know he's definitely standing for Sunshine and everything else. And his pitch was really good. I mean, Illumination is known for making movies that recycle a lot of the same assets and being a little bit on the cheaper side, I guess, right? So maybe that will play into it. Who knows? Either way, man, I'm definitely all for that stuff. Can we get a link to the channel? It's just Chris Stuckman. Look him up. Here, I'll post a link to that review. Not that he needs the subs, but I mean, no, the guy, he's a solid dude. He's a solid guy. Loves movies, man. So the watcher here says Sunshine is goated. I've played it. Maybe I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll give it a shot, right? Taylor was like, I was right. He didn't bring up Galaxy. Yeah, that was kind of weird. He didn't bring up Galaxy, you know, but again, he could just be coming at it from like, you know, look, everyone's in agreement. Everyone's in agreement. Flat out, Luigi's Mansion, right? Like one's in the chat if you want to see a Luigi's Mansion movie. I think it'd be great. Sorry, pardon me, guys. I'm getting to like 2 hours talking here. My voice is starting to get going. But I really am excited to see this. Obviously, I'll have my review up on it tomorrow, and I'll be talking about it. I'm jazzed, man. You know, I'm just jazzed to see it. Again, he's right. Like, yeah, I'm going to go in and watch Mario, and I'm going to be like, all right, cool. Just entertain me for 90 minutes. It's not that big of a deal. Just entertain me for 90 minutes. And let me know whether or not I'm going to be able to show this to my kids, which I was showing my daughter Avatar The Way of Water the other day. Clearly, I'll be able to show her this. But again, it's that whole idea that it's like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of nostalgia. There's going to be a lot of member berries. And I'm going to watch a story that is probably pretty simplistic about characters I grew up with and just watching them go on another adventure. I did watch the Super Mario Brothers Super Show when I was a kid. I fucking love that shit. I also watched the Legend of Zelda animated show when I was a kid, and I loved that shit too. And if this opens the door for more Star Fox, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? Fuck yeah. Give me, oh my God, dude, or a Metroid movie. Oh, think about that. Think about a Metroid Prime animated film. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Chef's kiss, baby. Right? Or fucking a Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past animated film. Oh, yes. I'd be so happy if they did that. And I think that's where it's going. Melanandri is now on the board over there at Nintendo, right? He's on the board over there at Nintendo. And so, yeah, they're clearly wanting to go and do this. They're clearly wanting to go and do this kind of stuff. And obviously, it's what they should do, man. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's totally okay to just get in on this stuff. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be. And I think people will be okay about that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Anyway, a couple things to get to here before we kind of wind it down. Let me just kind of go back and look through some of the supers. I like to keep it on point. Command Unit here says, I read a comment yesterday that said 40K fans spend more time on their hobby than furries. Not going to lie, I felt called out. I mean, I don't know necessarily what goes into the furry fandom, but based on what I've seen when it comes to 40K, I can understand that. I can understand that there. CJH, buddy, thank you so much for waiting on this one. I know it's been a while, but I just have to keep it on point till we get to the comments that aren't on point with what I'm currently talking about. I try to push off just because it keeps the flow. Anyway, he asked here, should MCU do a Cyclops origin story with Starjammers with Corsair and his brother Havoc and Vulcan? To be honest with you, I mean, I don't know if we're going to need origin stories anymore. You know, I mean, like, we've already done the Wolverine story. We already know that origin story. And I think once they get into some of the stuff, I think people are kind of over origin stories, if I'm being honest with you, right? I do feel that there's a lot of people that are kind of over that right now. And in many ways, it's just because what Marvel has kind of shown is that they have to kind of do the team up stuff, right? They kind of have to do the team up stuff, and the team up stuff is going to end up being what people are more interested in now that they've established that all of these, these teams exist, these characters exist, and to have them coexist is going to be something that's going to work. Again, provided the storytelling is there. once the X-Men enter into the whole thing, I don't even fucking know where it's going to go. It's going to be really, really, really wild. Ryan here says, just get to know the characters as they are. You don't need to get into their childhoods right away. Exactly. I do. No, Shifty gives him I love Cyclops. I want to see more out of Cyclops, but again, it's like, I don't know what we're going to do with that. This is here says, look up Captain N, the Game Master intro. All right. Captain N, the Game Master intro. Yeah, that was a show, wasn't it? That was a show that I'm trying. It was never. I don't know. Something happened with that one, where I don't know if I fucked up. Which is the one that Movie Bob did, because Movie Bob tried doing that too, right? So, all right. Let me here. Oops. We'll go back. Bring that up. Stupid StreamYard. All right. Okay, we'll do this, and then we'll do the mayhem stuff. We'll just get a couple of the little things out of the way, and then we're going to get over to the mailbag at the end. Oops.
Welcome to Videoland.
Wake up, Kid Icarus.
Welcome to Castle
It's Congo Land.
My brain will get you, little princess.
Princess, the palace is under siege.
Behold, the ultimate warp zone.
Kevin, I thought I told you to clean up your room.
Captain N, the Game Master.
That's pretty sick. You know what? I don't recall having actually seen that, but I feel like I should go back and give it a watch. That's actually pretty badass. All right, let's take a look here at the Muppets Mayhem teaser. That this was Reed had recommended this one, and this is a new teaser coming out from whatever it's called. This one is from Adam F. Goldberg, who did the Goldbergs on ABC. So I don't know, man. Look, after the last Muppet show, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Disney, let's just see.
Action. We're gonna rock on.
Oh wow! All episodes are streaming on May 10th. That's kind of crazy that they're not doing week to week. Yeah, I agree with Shiftyism. I like the ABC Muppet Show. I thought that was pretty funny. But then they did the Muppets, the one that was more like Sesame Street. It kind of felt like it had, what was it? Muppets Now, whatever it was. It was more digitally, like, internet focused, so to speak. That was terrible. I couldn't even make it through some episodes. That was so bad. This one, I'll have to wait and see how this one is. We'll have to wait and see. There's another one here. Ryan had asked to check this one out last night. This is a trailer for Howard. I don't know what this is. But it's only a minute long, so let's give it a watch.
Ready to start.
As a lyricist, the last great place to do musicals is in animation.
The combination of Howard Ashman's talent and the Walt Disney name was a home run waiting to happen.
The stuff that was coming out of Howard's pen lyrically was just unbelievable.
It's quiet, you know what I mean?
It's a quiet village.
Yeah.
Howard and Alan Menken had captured the imagination of a generation. We knew something really special was happening, but what we didn't know was that in 9 months, Howard would be gone.
And Howard said, we really have to have a serious talk. I'm sick.
in animation history and in musical history. Howard's mark is indelible. Yes. Howard's gift was so strong and his light was so bright that it has not diminished over the years.
Oh wow, is that out now? Oops. Hold on. I do love Tangled immensely. By the way, can I find the shot? I didn't realize this until I was watching it again the other day, and there's a shot you can kind of see. It's in the back. It's a wide shot. Pinocchio makes an appearance, so I could find it. You do see Pinocchio pretty clearly. Maybe it's towards the beginning. Anyway, I fucking love Tangled, man. I think Tangled is amazing. Command Unit here for Fiber. Thank you, buddy. Says, I grew up with Sonic X and adventure games and Sonic Heroes, so the cartoonish 90s influenced Sonic films annoy me very much. I mean, I understand that. But let me ask you this. What do you think of Sonic Prime on Netflix? Because that's more, I think, in line with what you're talking about. You know what I mean? But I get it. And the problem, though, is when you do these kind of things, you're simply just not going to be able to please everyone. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. And so speaking of that, let's take a look here at the thing you want us to take a look at, which is Tucker Carlson.
Left is now telling you and demand
a communist. Right? This is, again, to start the show politically, kind of end it politically on this front. But all right. Yeah. So let's take it. This is only a minute, 14 seconds here. Where are we at? There we go.
that you believe that anyone who supports Donald Trump is a white supremacist and must be destroyed. Now, they're telling you that for political reasons. This is election season, obviously, and they want more political power. But there are other reasons, too, that they're saying this. Ever wonder why rich people seem the most hysterical on the subject? Ever notice that it's the highest paid people on television who are the most determined to convince you that white supremacy is America's biggest problem? Why is that? Simple. Every minute you're angry about race is a minute you're not thinking about class, which of course is the real divide in this country. Working class people of all colors have a lot more in common, infinitely more in common with each other than they do with some overpaid MSNBC anchor. And if you were allowed to think about that for long enough, you might start to get unauthorized ideas about economics, and that would be disruptive to a very lucrative status quo. So they whip you into a frenzy of racial fear so that it never enters your mind. It's a diversion. Everyone else hates each other, they get to keep their money. Pretty tricky. Unfortunately, it's also destroying the country. This is the path to civil war, obviously.
Wow. What the fuck? What the fuck? So, all right, guys, it's crazy. MAGA communism. This is from like 3 years ago. That was pretty funny, though. Good old crazy ass Tucker Carlson. But all right, let's take a quick look here at some of the questions that have come on in tonight, or yesterday, really. I forgot to get to these. Blue Jay asking, do you think someone in the film industry will put out a movie written solely in ChatGPT? If so, I will die laughing if they keep those cringeworthy happy endings. I mean, I'll tell you this, though. I don't know. I think someone will eventually put out a movie that will be co-written by GPT that we'll hear about. It will be a thing, or maybe all of it will be, minus some tweaking to make it just kind of structurally fit. That being said, ChatGPT will clearly influence a lot of movies. You just won't know about them, because the way that I think it was the WGA was talking about it was like, you can actually you can't write a movie using AI, but you can have it help you prompt a movie. You know what I mean? So everything else. Anyway, Spherical Man asking if Anna is still on the panel. Did she see Rescue Rangers last night? If so, what were her thoughts? I didn't ask her that, but I will. Also, Blue Jay here, thank you, says it's pretty concerning that 2023 is packed to the brim with big tentpole films. March was already a bit of a hellhole of good movies, but then when summer hits, it's going to be a total roller coaster ride. Personally, I want Spider-Verse, Transformers, and Flash to do well. I want every movie to do well. Even Barbie, which doesn't necessarily interest me, but I still want it to do well. People put a lot of time and effort and energy into making these movies. They want to tell stories. They want to enlighten and entertain. a lot of people. And I think, again, not every movie is going to be The Godfather. Not every movie is going to be Tommy Wiseau's The Room. There's a lot of middle ground with movies. And again, I'm not even saying Tommy Wiseau's The Room is a bad movie. I fucking love that movie, but it's not considered a well-made film. I think it's just going to be about getting people comfortable with going back to the theaters. And again, we're still in a paradigm shift. I think the streaming bubble is about to burst, and they're going to put a lot more focus on theatrical. But the thing is, theatrical has to then be worth it. And they can't just pump and dump movies like they were doing in the mid 2000s, because people are a lot smarter with their money. They'll always justify entertainment, provided the entertainment is worth justifying. CJH here says, yes, the mailbag, the glorious golden goose. But because I'm going to be respectful, I'll only ask one question. Are we living in a simulation, and can you prove if we are or we're not? Truth be told, I would limit you to more. Yeah, CJH, I like you, man. But like, yeah, I would probably, if it's long. Anyway. Are we living in a simulation? I don't know. And if I can't prove one way or the other. I think probably the number one way to determine whether or not we're living into a simulation would be to just once we die. That's about it. Once you see that light and you walk through that light, where do you go? Who knows? We don't know. And that's part of the interesting factor of life, I think. Anyway, my channel asks, Saggy kill stream when? Hell if I know, man. All I know is that, quite frankly, even the kill stream, from what I've seen, is I'm sure it pulls in more viewers than me, but it's just fucking dead half the time. Oscar-winning Duck says, I'm late, but could you have Riley Reid on? Oscar-winning Duck, I'd absolutely have Riley Reid on. I'd want to talk about her rap career. And also, yeah, but like, if you happen to have a contact information, let's do it. Music Man asks 2 questions here. When will Disney stop with its shitty live-action remakes? And do I think the Moana live-action remake will crash and burn the same way Black Adam did? No. So to answer your first question, when will Disney stop? When people stop spending money. That's about it. That is really the crux of it right there. As for when do I think Moana, or what do I think about Moana live action? Will it crash and burn like Black Adam? No, it won't, because there's a built-in base there. There's a built-in base. People know who Moana is. People know who Maui is. People know the songs. They know the soundtrack. They know the story. They know the characters. They know Hey Hey, and they know like all that shit, right? Tahiti, they know, Tamatua, the crab. I mean, like Grandma, the stingray, all that shit, right? They know it. I mean, I listen to the soundtrack with my kids all the time. So it's going to be a hit. I think it's just like, it's a creatively bankrupt idea that will probably, if it doesn't go over well, it will probably die out pretty quick. So, anyway, all right. Thank you for that one there. That's good questions. We'll do this again. And Ryan, I agree. The movie is only 7 years old. Anyway, Plushie, there's a mailbag for channel members. And I'll do it more frequently, probably not every night, because I just kind of forget. Anyway, here. All right. So Phantom Menace asks thoughts on the Across the Spider-Verse trailer. The international trailer showed old clips of Toby, Andrew, and Tom, which was interesting. I did not see the old trailer. I did watch it last night. Looks great. I just like, there's so many Spider-Men and so many little things I need to go and like dive into that I need to watch, like, and just kind of go point for point, or just watch a breakdown video of it, really, to be fair. But I can't wait, dude. I fucking love Into the Spider-Verse. And I'm bummed that there's no Spider-Man Noir. That part sucks. And there's also no Spider-Pig, which also sucks. But at the end of the day, you know what? I'm hoping they pop up in the third film. I really, really, really am. Blargan here says, I hope that thing bombs. If it's a hit, the live-action remake train is only going to get more fuel. Yeah, it is. But, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, they need to stop. Wait, hold on. They need to stop using that meme. It's getting old. Who's using? Oh, you mean like the you sort of thing? Yeah. I get you, man. I think it's funny though. But again, I'm very easily entertained. What can I say? So, all right, guys, it's 11:36 p.m. Mandalorian starts in just about 14 minutes. And folks, this episode is directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. And so if the return of the Mandalorian is any indication of what to expect, we're going to be getting some pure grade A badassery when it comes to Star Wars tonight. So go check it out. Thank you guys very much. Be sure to smack a like if you haven't already. I'll be back on tomorrow with my review of Mario, my thoughts on Mando, And maybe we'll talk the future of Hollywood After Dark, because there's some stuff I kind of want to change. So we'll talk about that then. Anyway, guys, have yourself a great night. Thank you all so much again, and peace the fuck out.